I remember the exact moment the phone started buzzing. Morning sunlight cut through the blinds, soft and golden, but the vibration was relentless. Missed calls stacked like dominoes on the screen. My sister's name at the top, again and again, as if saying it more times would make me forget what she'd done. She hadn't wanted me at her wedding. Socially unfit, she'd said, the words sharp as glass, dropped casually over coffee. She didn't even flinch when she saw how deep they cut. My own sister. She didn't want me to ruin her perfect day. So I stayed silent. I smiled. I booked a vacation, alone. A quiet cabin, far away from the noise. My absence was supposed to be her victory. But silence can be sharper than screams. And karma? Karma doesn't wait long when it's given a little push. I wasn't always her shadow. We grew up close. She was the golden child, yes. But I was her confidant, her shield, her fixer. When her lies cornered her, I covered. When her secrets threatened to spill, I carried them. I thought loyalty meant something. I thought blood meant more. It started to change when she got engaged. The man was money wrapped in a tailored suit, old family name, old wealth, old habits. He smiled like he owned the room. He treated her like a trophy he'd polished. And she let him. I noticed small things first. The late-night texts she hid. The nervous laugh when he touched her arm too tightly. The way she flinched at questions about his past. Then the real crack appeared. A message. One she didn't mean for me to see. His name attached to another woman's body. Explicit. Shameless. I asked her, once, quietly. She brushed it off with that same cutting tone she'd later use on me. Stay out of it. You wouldn't understand. Don't make this about you. That's when I understood my place. Not sister, not family, just an inconvenience. So I stopped being her shield. I spent weeks in silence, studying, preparing. I traced his finances, his corporate filings, his carefully curated lies. I knew where he kept his dirt, and I knew how to pry it open. I wasn't reckless. Every move was measured. One by one, I gathered proof. Shell companies, siphoned funds, blackmail photos, the mistress he kept in another city. By the time the wedding came, I had a dossier thicker than their glossy invitations. But I didn't plan to storm the altar. No dramatic scene. That would have been too merciful. I wanted her to feel it unravel, strand by strand, until she realized she'd built her future on quicksand. On the day of her wedding, I packed my bag and drove to the cabin. No dress, no makeup, no forced smile for photographers. Just silence, trees, and the sound of my own breathing. She thought I was sulking. She thought excluding me was punishment enough. What she didn't know was that my absence was the first domino. Because while she was walking down the aisle, whispers were already circling. The mistress's lawyer had sent out carefully timed emails to him, to her, to the families in attendance. Screenshots attached, dates, locations, proof. While she was slipping the ring onto his finger, his investors were receiving notices about discrepancies in his accounts. The kind that freeze assets, the kind that trigger investigations. By the time they reached the reception, his phone was buzzing harder than mine, his face pale, her smile cracked. And by the time the first dance ended, the calls weren't about congratulations, they were about collapse. The next morning, my morning, the buzzing came to me. Dozens of missed calls, my sister. Her voice, when I finally answered, was a mixture of fury and fear. You knew. I didn't deny it. You planned this, she hissed. Planned? I said softly. No, I just stopped protecting you. The silence on the line was heavier than her words. She realized in that moment that the cage she was trapped in wasn't built by me. She walked into it herself. I just held up the mirror. I didn't gloat. I didn't scream. I didn't need to. Her golden day turned into ashes, not by my hand, but by truth. And truth, when released, doesn't ask permission. It spreads. It consumes. She called me a monster once when I refused to cover for her mistakes. Maybe she was right. But monsters don't hide in shadows forever. Sometimes they walk calmly into the light and let everyone else see who the real monsters are. I sat on the porch of that cabin, watching the sun burn off the morning fog. My phone kept vibrating, but I let it. Every unanswered call was another reminder. She'd chosen him, chosen lies, chosen to cut me out. And I had chosen silence. Not weakness, not surrender. Silence as strategy. Because sometimes revenge isn't about striking back. Sometimes it's about stepping aside and letting the fire find its own fuel. And when it did, it burned everything she thought she owned. Do I feel guilt? No. She wanted me gone. She made sure I wasn't there to ruin her perfect day. And she got exactly that. I wasn't there. But karma was.